hilarious.
I did.
I know. You're a part of the collective.
Listen,
I don't know what we're talking about, but I listened to it.
The day one of the three of us stops listening to the podcast, I think the podcast is pretty dead. I think that's the point where the podcast is dead.
No, I got like such a passive-aggressive, judgmental thing from my one coworker when we first started like uploading. They were like, "You're listening to your own podcast," and I'm like, "Would you not listen to your own podcast?" Like I'm at least gonna go through it to make the view number go up by one. I mean,
I have no shame in listening to our own podcast and laughing at my own jokes. I got no problem.
Who other than us is gonna like our own YouTube videos?
I actually said this to friend of the show Zins a couple days ago. I feel completely embarrassed sometimes when I'm listening to the episode because I am actually laughing at it a lot. And I'm like, does this make me... Because I'm like the most overly critical person of myself, but for whatever reason, when I'm doing the podcast, I'm usually deeply proud of how funny we are, which I feel like is the opposite.
Yeah, I get a bit of an ego trip every time I laugh at something stupid we do, because I'm like, I'm funny.
You know, I got no shame in it. I laugh at my own stupid jokes. That's fine. I'm the only one. I laughed for a good 10 minutes straight when the fucking Orlok episode came out. I couldn't stop laughing. I was inconsolable.
So real quick appreciation for Josh, because some of the editing
that
you do, Josh,
Jesus.
The one time I think it was the Orlok episode where I was reading the article and I just go wait, and the logo is getting bigger and bigger as I say wait. I lost on our YouTube videos.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that one. Another one that I really like came out recently in your world, but not ours, where it was it was me just very slowly bringing in the word masturbate from Master Bates' article every time that Ben either says it or one of me or Chris laughs. No. And the others have not seen this yet. It's kind of subtle. I don't know if it'll be noticed. It's fun. We're very, very funny, and that's why we have 3 fans. Roll the intro.
I always forget that Tim Curry did a voice on Darkwing Duck.
What?
Okay.
Welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever.
The podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, man, those Sith are finally getting their vengeance.
Is that what we're doing?
How was your watch? That's exactly what we're doing. Yep.
Sign off
I finished my watch about an hour ago while I was at a game night with friends.
Oh my god.
We're learning how to play Terraforming Mars, and I'm sitting there sorting cards, and my one friend's doing homework, and my other one's updating a community playlist we all share. And I was like, does anyone want to help me with this? And they're all like, no, we got our own stuff going on. So I was like, all right. So I just pulled up my phone and started playing the last half hour of the movie while I was organizing. Looks at me, he goes, or my friend, I don't know if they're comfortable with me naming them, but my friend looks over at me, he goes, aren't you recording tonight? And I was like, yeah, that's why I gotta finish this.
Christ.
By the way, this will be the 4th or 5th time I've bleeped out that friend's name on the podcast.
That specific person's name.
That specific
My
person.
brain just doesn't fucking work.
Nobody else, just that person.
Well, that's because they're a close friend of mine.
Just refer to them from now on as redacted.
So
friend of the show, redacted.
I was talking to
friend
redacted
of the show,
the other
redacted.
Day. No, we gotta get a clip of me just as monotone as just redacted. And it's so like I was talking to redacted the other day, and
dear God, Chris, how was your watch?
I don't want to do this now, so I need you to remind me in about 5 minutes about something.
Is this the note thing you told us about?
No, I need you to remind me about something else. I don't want to do this in my intro. I need to come back to something. Remind me.
Okay.
All right.
So my watch
was
fun.
great. No, I'm saying I don't want to do this as far as how answering this question. I have to bring something up in a moment. My watch was great. I got to hang out and watch it with my wife. It's been a busy few days. Everything has calmed down. I got to watch the best Star Wars movie. It was fine. It was great. It was
Episode 2 was last week, Chris.
Shut up. Shut up, me from the past.
The bit is dead.
The bit is dead in the ground. Josh, how was your watch?
So Chris was actually messaging the Discord while he was doing his watch, and he said that Revenge of the Sith is the best movie in the entire saga. I'll say this. Revenge of the Sith has become the watch I look forward to most. Because it's gotten to the point where the only thing that makes these watches bearable, other than recording the podcast itself and the joy I get out of that, is noticing new things that are bad shit. I am convinced it's going to take 10 more or 20 more rotations before I stop noticing new things about Ian McDiarmid's performance. Every time I watch this movie, I appreciate it more and more and more. Every fucking time.
I love that man. What did you
steals-
notice?
He steals every fucking scene.
Oh, every
It's
single
not-
one.
This time, it wasn't something that I noticed so much as something that just hit extra hard this time, and it was just the Satan voice. First of all, the man is putting in A+ acting performances while he's being electrocuted. So he's aware he's being electrocuted in CGI. And knowing that, he's doing 10-mile fucking... And keep in mind, he has like 6 layers of fucking
makeup
shit on his face. It's not even makeup, there's prosthetic skin on there too.
Yeah.
And
just layers of latex on his face.
He gets more out of a centimeter of his face's expression than any other actor on the planet gets out of the rest of their entire face. And then the other thing I noticed was the Satan voice. You always notice the Satan voice when they put reverb on his voice as
Vader. It's like
and there's one of my favorite things, I don't think I've mentioned this on the podcast, but when he sort of breathes in and his jaw gets real tight and he goes, good.
Oh yeah.
That
reverb is
delivery.
going.
Good. That delivery is so fucking phenomenal. It really is. I appreciate Ian McDiarmid so much. So much.
Today's just gonna be the Ian McDiarmid appreciation episode.
Speaking of that,
this fucking man.
that leads me perfectly into something I just discovered in the opening moments of this podcast. So I opened up, because I have a whole new setup. I'm broadcasting from my new office space I have.
Live from Chris's new office.
Live from
six
actual
weeks
computer.
ago.
Way nicer office than the office this podcast is edited in. I'll tell you that.
Y'all just wait till I learn editing. Everyone's in trouble.
Also, I just want to say, Chris, fuck you and your fucking L desk, because I want one of those so bad.
Okay,
I have like
a
relatively small desk and 2 monitors, so I have no desk space.
I'm really lucky. I have a very large desk that's been in my family for a long time, but I have 2 falling apart laptops by which this podcast is being made. So
if we ever, through some act of the Lord, get like funding through like monetization on YouTube or like any kind of advertisers who want to advertise with us, we're just setting up a separate fund to get Josh a decent computer.
yeah, I don't. it's gonna have to happen.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
But
So yes, in the opening moments of this
Oh yeah.
podcast, I decided, okay, I have a whole new thing. I can, you know what I should do for the podcast? I should have Wikipedia open like Ben does every week.
no,
I would
That's,
not recommend it.
No.
I clicked on one of the, because on the side they have like birthdays or whatever, or like this year in whatever
Yeah.
this happened. It was like happy birthday,
God.
Tim Curry. I was like, Tim Curry.
I was just about to say that because when you said that, I scrolled down. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Tim Curry?
And so I clicked on it. I'm like, why does Tim Curry have a Wikipedia article about him? I have forgotten. And perhaps I don't actually know if I knew this information.
Oh no.
Tim Curry did the voice of Palpatine in the Clone Wars.
And they replaced it?
We talked about this recently of them replacing a voice actor. It was no, that was Rebels. That was Rebels. Did they replace him in Clone Wars as well?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
Oh my
don't
God.
know. Holy fuck! I never
I'll say
knew
this.
And I love
I'll
Tim
say
Curry.
this. I only know the one. I've only seen the one season, but it's not Palpatine doing that in that season. I can tell you that for a fact.
10 episodes of the Clone Wars. Tim Curry did the voice of Supreme Chancellor Palpatine / Darth Sidious.
Sheev Palpatine. I'm sorry, I will drive that home as much as possible. His name is Sheev.
Season 5. In Season 5.
I just need Tim Curry and Ian McDiarmid in a room. It doesn't matter what you give them.
There is. So
Welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the #1 Ian McDiarmid and Tim Curry fan podcast.
I don't know if Chris has had the pleasure of this, but I think Josh has. Every year, on Halloween night, there's a video I share to everybody.
Oh no.
And it's, I forget what the movie is, but Tim Curry has a Halloween-themed musical number.
Yeah.
And it is the most beautiful thing that has ever been produced by man.
Well, this is fascinating. Tim Curry and Hayden Christensen share a birthday.
It's destiny. It is
They're
Hayden
really-
Christensen's birthday
Their
today.
birthday is both of them on April 19th. That's interesting.
Jesus Christ.
Star Wars is just Tim Curry.
Along with this other person who I don't know. Who did you...
Tarot with
Oh, concept artist. Who did designs. Okay, gotcha. Well, happy birthday, Hayden. Happy birthday, Tim. And happy birthday, Terrell.
Oh no, this is gonna be a bit now where we update everyone on birthdays, isn't it?
Nope. It's not.
I mean, it might be.
No.
It's not. It's not in every episode.
Josh will edit out any
I'll certainly
birthday
be doing it
mentions
again.
here on out.
Okay, can I just say, it's been a while since we had a check-in, and I'm in an oddly good mood. This podcast, I'm enjoying quite a bit. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out, because...
It's jarring how off we were on episode 1. I don't know if that translated to whatever our final product is, but like episode 1, we were all like we were off, and today I feel great.
Well, it's this, the last rotation, I feel like, was rough.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like, we're in the good times. 1 and 2 are gone. We just watched the best Star Wars movie ever made.
It could be better.
All the rest of them
Shut up.
are fine until we get to
Hold on.
the one that shall not be mentioned.
Yes, Josh?
Ben.
Yes, Josh?
We were having a wonderful moment where we all reflect on
I
our
didn't
love of
say
this
anything.
podcast and audience. Never get it wrong. We are the biggest fans of our podcast and we enjoy it very much, even if the process is not always
We're not
fun.
narcissists. We just love our own product so fucking much.
Yeah,
Well, it's fun
that's
for us. It's time for me to hang out with my friends, and we also think we're really funny, and that's why we have 3 fans. But I need to needle Ben here, because we were having a genuine moment, and he was like, "You want to know what this genuine moment needs?" A fucking pod racing mention.
Let it be known, I didn't say the word pod race at all.
No, but everyone on planet Earth knows where you were
I
going.
think all the 3 people who listen to us know where I was going.
God damn it.
But now that you mention it, if this movie had a pod race,
You're a real motherfucker, you know that? I just wanted to have a moment
We
with
were
the other-
bonding.
with the other star people, alright? I just wanted to have a
Star
star
Lads,
people. I just wanted to have a Star Lads powwow where I show my appreciation for the two of you and our tiny but engaged audience, where I just said that I enjoy this thing that we do. And also, I really need to talk to you about the fact that I think I discovered Obi-Wan and Anakin committing a war crime last night.
I mean, are you surprised by this? But also,
I was gonna say I'm mildly surprised but very curious.
I'm not even surprised.
I think
but
I
am
discovered a new
curious.
war crime that they've committed. I didn't. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that happened this week, because I enjoyed this watch so much, because I got to sit down and watch a movie with my wife. I got to watch one of the good movies with my wife, because up until this point she's only watched, I believe, Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker with me. So it was nice to sit there. This is her favorite. She loves Hayden Christensen. She pointed out how attractive he was at various moments. One of those times was when he was going in to murder a bunch of children, so now I'm a little worried about my wife. But
I can't.
there's a moment. So this is how this watch was for me and how much I enjoyed it. I did research. I did extra research this afternoon.
Yes.
Gold
About
star
a
for
topic.
Chris.
I had to research war crimes because of Star Wars.
I mean, yeah.
Because I thought this was a war crime, and apparently it's a gray area. So yay for
no.
that. There is a moment when
Star Wars every week forever with your cutting edge war crime news.
keeping you up to date on all things war crime.
Bringing a whole new meaning to the term fresh canon.
Jesus Christ.
Fresh world canon. This is some fresh world canon for you.
Anyway.
So there's a moment when the ship is going down
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of this
Okay,
movie.
yes.
Where Palpatine is sweating bullets.
Yeah, it's right after like the ship is actively going down. The droids
Mm-hmm.
have stopped attacking. They have dropped their weapons. They are panicking and trying to escape, while Obi-Wan and Anakin just kill all of them as they are just panicking and running because the ship is going down. I looked at my wife and I was like, I think that's got to be a war crime, right?
Definitely. If Star Wars recognized droids as sentient people, which they are, definitely a war crime.
I was gonna say I think it depends on the planet, because I
It
know
is,
places like Naboo recognize droids as sentient, but most of the galaxy doesn't.
It is apparently not a war crime in real life.
What?
I came across a bunch of people asking the same question, and a bunch of dude bros answering with like philosophical, like, well, no, in war you must kill your enemies
Shut
until there are no
the
more
fuck up.
enemies, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ,
That's
dude.
not how that works.
And also, like, okay, so let's just say it's not a war crime. Is it still something that Jedi should be doing?
No!
Well, being involved in a war isn't something the Jedi should be doing, so
It historically has not worked for their order.
every time they've done it.
Also,
shit's gone fucked up.
I've brought up this point in the past, but I feel it's especially poignant based on this conversation. There's a part where Anakin just jogs across the entirety of that bridge.
We've brought
Just
this up
really-
before.
I know, I'm bringing it up
okay.
again for a purpose. I led in saying I brought this up before. Just lightly jogs over to a droid that has not fired at him and slices it in half. That feels especially like a war crime, because I would consider that ample surrender.
Just how casual it was.
It's like, no,
Brisk jog over to slaughter a droid.
It's a brisk jog war crime.
I love
Casual
gathering
war
and
crimes.
sitting around having just war crime chat with my buds.
No, that has to be a war crime. I'm sorry. If feigning surrender is a war crime, that has to be a war crime.
Okay. We're not going to spend time looking this up anymore.
I'm gonna read through the Geneva Convention tonight.
Listen, I did a lot of research on war crimes at work today, and that's not. I need you to. That's not what I get paid for. I need you to understand. I don't get paid for that.
That one comment has convinced me that I need to start an out of context series.
Yes. Yes. Please do. Holy shit. I was researching war crimes at work today. Chris, the resident war crime expert now. Oh my god.
That is my, like, I want that. The first time we do, like,
March.
video where people can see our stupid faces at some
Which
point,
will never happen.
even if it's just a one-off thing. I don't care if this is 10 years down the road. We've acquired sponsors, we've built our fan base.
Maybe we'll have 10 listeners.
Yeah, we have 20. We have like.
That's tripling your audience.
Yeah, we'll be appearing on like a show. Like we'll do like a live show or whatever with our adoring fans. And when the lower third comes up introducing each of us, I would like underneath of mine war crimes expert.
Wait. So Chris has dubbed me the grand lore wizard.
We have too many names. We have way too many names to go through.
Chris can be the war crime expert. Editor extraordinaire would be Josh.
Reluctant editor.
Reluctant editor
Listen,
extraordinaire.
I will learn to edit, but
No.
nobody wants that to happen.
No. My job title would be sad shit poster because that's what I do for a living now.
Basically, yeah.
Oh my god, this fucking movie, dude.
The best part about this is like, we all like are creative and we do stuff. So like, I could be writing, I could be polishing up like something right now, like, but no, I'm choosing my time to do this podcast. So like this podcast is actually antithetical to earning a living. This podcast is hypothetically preventing me from earning a living.
Jesus Christ. Chris, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole because I already had one panic attack this month about like I waste a lot of time watching Star Wars.
Listen, we all need a little joy in our lives.
Listen,
It's a passion project where
the limited amounts of free time I have every single week watching Star Wars, so I can then talk about it, so 3 people can listen to it. That's just what I'm gonna do. It's.
Listen, we gotta do it for the fans.
We're gonna do it for the fans.
Half of the fan base of which is us. But
I feel like we have like 2 or so regular listeners. I'm still not sure if they listen just because they dislike us. Like,
well,
I gotta imagine there's a certain amount of like, you have to dislike somebody to listen to them in misery.
No,
just every week.
Because I know for a fact Mr. Mishap listens to us because I love that man.
friend of the show, Mr. Mishap.
Friend of the show and
Our first
I've had
fan.
a I don't know how serious, kind of not serious bromance with that man since I met him like years ago.
Our two day one fans are Zins, friend of the show Zins, and friend of the show Mr. Mishap, whose name I still do not know, nor would I say it on the podcast.
I don't listen. I want it on record here and now. I don't want to know his name.
I've told you
From
guys
now
his
on,
name
just Mr.
before.
Mishap. That's it.
There will be
I don't want to know his real name.
I've told you guys this individual's name before.
Don't ever do it again, because I will one day, realistically, I will one day meet this man, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. But I will look at another human being and say, "It's wonderful to meet you, Mr. Mishap."
I mean, listen, time is a flat circle. We've just come back around to like the origins of VidCon at that point. I mean, it's a bunch of grown people calling each other dumb fake internet names.
I'm terrified for when like I have I want to say it's a dream because it's not so much a plan, but kind of a plan to start my own YouTube channel for like lore and stuff. And I'm terrified of the day that I start going by my screen name, because that's going to be so weird and jarring and just uncomfortable for like a week, maybe 5.
Hey, you have the ability, if you're starting a YouTube channel, to come up with a name that you're comfortable with as an adult. Whereas a lot of YouTubers had to come up, a lot of people had to come up, just in general, had to come up with whatever came to their mind when they were like 13 to 16 years old, and are just known as that by a bunch of people for the rest of their lives.
No, because I'm using some stupid fucking fantasy name I made up for my own personal fantasy universe when I was like fucking 17.
You don't have to use that, though.
But it's what all my handles are. So like
10 minutes. Look out for our future podcast, which is just going to be this. No Star Wars.
No, don't promise that.
Just us talking about random bullshit. Anyway, back to Star Wars. So,
yeah.
Was this a war crime or was this not a war crime? I need help.
My vote is definite war crime.
Oh, I mean, it was a war crime even if the Geneva Convention does not state it's a war crime.
Well, here's the thing though, and I would like to offer.
The Convention states if Anakin is on the bridge of a ship and there's battle droids fleeing, I don't want to not slaughter them.
I don't want to give Josh PTSD right now, but I have like a moral, like an ethical dilemma to present to you here.
Oh no.
Oh, no. I feel a D&D story coming.
I want to bounce off Ben real quick and say the Geneva Convention states Anakin is a war crime. Now you can continue.
So I've been thinking about this fucking war crime since last night, like all day.
Are you about to ask me how many war crimes you've committed in characters in D&D? Because if so, there are several.
It's a lot. Look, I dropped a bomb on my friends one time. All right.
That's another one for the out of context reel.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking about this war crime all day. But anyway.
Listen, so I've been thinking about this fucking thing all day, and I'm like, all right, maybe it's just because it's Jedi doing this. Like, if this scene had played out as like a cutaway, and it was the clones doing this, like it's the clone troopers, they're blasting, these droids. I'm wondering if I would have had the same gut reaction I had watching it as 2 Jedi did this.
Well, let's be serious for a second here. This would have happened if it was just clones doing this. A couple rotations down the line, you would have noticed that as well. It's literally our insanity that makes us notice these things. Because I guarantee anyone that has only watched this movie 1 to 3 times has never looked at that scene of Anakin lightly jogging like he's fucking trying to get back into shape and said, that seems like a war crime.
I do like that we both seemingly noticed 2 separate war crimes in the same watch of the same movie.
I'm confused. What war crime did I notice?
Anakin lightly jogging.
Oh no,
up.
I noticed that while you talked to me, and that jogged back up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's disturbingly a war crime.
Yeah.
Basically, your war crime informed my war crime. Another amazing out of context comment. So speaking of war crimes,
I'm on I'm on a website right now.
Oh, no.
And it says it's a war crime.
I had a very on-topic thing to bring up, and we're just going to talk about...
This is not on topic? We've been talking about war crimes for like half an hour.
I really wish we could just title this episode "The Gang Talks About War Crimes" for 45 minutes to an hour.
I mean, we can just title it.
I don't know if YouTube would be too happy about that one.
YouTube's not happy with a
I
lot.
feel like if you put
That's
war
fair.
crimes in a YouTube video title, you attract a different kind of audience than what we're looking for.
It'll be like attracting the Raylo fans all over again.
I don't want to talk about that one publicly on the podcast.
Yeah. Let them come after me. I'll take the heat. I deserve it.
I'll decide if I want to take it out later. On one of the episodes, I did tag and have the word Raylo in the title, and based on analytics, at least one person listened to our entire podcast and then got to sequel trilogy episodes and got very sad, and I feel bad about that.
We recently brought up. Oh no, I'm sorry. I don't want to go. Josh, you had something on topic to bring up. I don't want to get away from it too long. I feel like.
No, we need Ben's bullshit thing.
Oh no, it's a war crime to kill combatants who are hors de combat, which means out of action due to injury or damage.
Great. Thank you for reading the Geneva Convention, Benjamin.
This podcast's final form.
Josh
is
Jimin,
us just
don't do
reading
that to me.
excerpts of the Geneva Convention.
On a similar note, I have not watched Clone Wars. I will once again say that.
Speaking of war crimes.
Does it not feel like every Anakin and Padme scene in this movie, they have not actually had a conversation since they had a wedding that did not include just like wild abandoned sex or very awkward pining?
No,
Because they know nothing about each other. Every conversation it reads as, I don't actually know the person I married.
I made a note of that, a mental note of that, because at the end when Padme's confronting Anakin, and Anakin says like, we can rule the galaxy together, I'm more powerful than the Emperor, she's like, you're not who you used to be. And I'm like, literally, this is the guy who said dictatorship was a good idea in the last movie.
But she thought it was
And
a
you
joke.
laughed at it. And he awkwardly like hesitates and then like awkwardly starts laughing because the other person's laughing.
Like, these two individuals have never had an in-depth conversation about each other's wants and needs ever in their lives. Because
you like stemless pears? Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
My God.
we're
Goddamn
soulmates.
We're soulmates. You like stemless pears. I don't like sand. We're the same person. Anakin, those are two different things, right?
We start talking about war crimes again. Please.
It just really, like, it really does read as two people got married in Vegas. And then one of those people went to war and came back, and would occasionally have leave to come back, and they never talked once, and then they got a divorce within the first month of him coming back.
Did you just describe the plot of a Sandra Bullock movie that's going to come out?
I think
2
I
years from now?
described the plot of Attack of Clones and Revenge of the Sith. The more I started talking about it, I'm like, no, I'm just describing the events happening, except Naboo is Las Vegas.
Let's be clear. It wasn't a divorce. It was straight up murder.
Listen, he
It was
divorced her to
attempted
death, all right?
murder, aggravated assault at the very least.
No. She died in childbirth. So he just assaulted her. He murdered her. Don't pretend. He murdered her.
That's why I said at the very least. Like, if he's got a good freaking lawyer.
Can we riff off that trial for a second? Because I want that.
Oh no!
I want that space
What
drama
trial?
series.
What
The
trial?
trial of Anakin murdering Padme.
But it was like,
I don't know if I want to riff off that.
He might get it to that with a good lawyer, and I'm just picturing fucking Downtime Darth, but he's
Or
in
maybe-
fucking he's in court. It's just
He doesn't have the Darth Vader suit. He's just got like,
So
metal
Downtime-
prosthetics, like his hand, on the rest of his limbs.
So Downtime Darth had 9 seasons. They needed a spin-off. And they were like, of course we're not in charge of it anymore, because nobody that has that long a running show are in charge of it anymore. And they're like, what's the spin-off we go with? I got it, a prequel, Legal Vader.
Vader. Legally Darth.
Oh no. Oh no.
This is the worst.
Oh, I hate everything.
What
What
have
have I done?
This has been an oddly analytical episode, and that's because I'm in such a chill place right now for some reason this week. So I'm actually engaging with intelligent conversation, I think.
And then Legally Darth pops
And
out.
then Legally Darth comes in, and I'm like, well, fuck it. I'll just go back to making dick jokes.
Would you please again state for the record, Mr. Vader, the last thing you felt in regards to Padme? She was alive! I felt it! Thank you. The defense rests.
I think technically the last thing he felt was her neck through the Force, but
Jesus fucking.
The worst. We've accidentally delved very hard into black comedy.
Accidentally, we opened up talking about work.
hey,
This was inevitable.
Can I do an impromptu Chris weird Wikipedia?
Okay.
Because I just clicked on the random
we've got
page.
one in this episode.
Oh yeah, we do have one in this episode. I'm gonna do a
Yeah.
special Chris edition early. It's the pre-weird Wikipedia.
It's the
And it's-
pre and post weird Wikipedia.
Yeah. So I clicked the random page and I got trim thruster.
Please link it.
Oh yeah, no, here I'll link it and then I'll read it. We'll do that. That'll be good.
We gotta have more eyes than one on this.
Wow.
All right, now don't get ahead of me here.
I am way ahead of you, Chris.
All right. Now trim thruster. Would you like me to read the article on trim thruster?
Yes. In its
Trim-
entirety, if you don't mind.
Oh, I mean, I got the time. We can pat it.
This is gonna take a while, gang. Strap in.
Trim thrusters were thrusters on K-wings. And the
Fantastic.
appearances section before the storm. First appearance.
Oh god.
This article is a stub about technology.
Was before the storm the first time a K-wing showed up? Really? Is that how?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's been a while since I read it.
First appearance
Obviously.
before the storm. Oh, they have K-Wings and X-Wings second edition? Holy fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, I love the K-Wing, and you better believe I'm going to buy a fucking K-Wing for my...
By the way,
What is this episode?
I will state for the public, I really love this trilogy. The political intrigue is not good, but the reading it after Phantom Menace came out, the couple books subplot where Luke finds his mother is really interesting.
Wait, what?
Especially when you know that woman is not his mother.
Wait, what?
It doesn't end up actually being his mother. Essentially, it's
What books are we talking about? I'm so confused.
the Black Fleet Crisis trilogy where this was mentioned.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The arcs of those books for Luke Skywalker is away from the war that is brewing between the xenophobic Yvetha and I don't know how to pronounce it. I never have. I've never said those words out loud. And the New Republic. Meanwhile, Luke's trying to find his mom and finds her, and it turns out she lied.
I remember those being decent books. I don't remember the political intrigue aspect being that bad, all things considered. I feel I could do with a lot more political intrigue in Star Wars. It's lurking around everything.
The first Star Wars book I ever had technically was this Before the Storm book, because it was a copy I took from school. And then my second Star Wars book ever was one of the trilogies right before the end of the Yuuzhan Vong, the third one in that series. No, the book series was good. It does feature one of the strangest scenes in the entire Star Wars mythos, which is Han, Leia, and Luke talking about the incest stuff.
Oh God.
Or at least hinting about it in like a implied drunken stupor at one of their houses.
Jesus Christ.
But anyway.
Oh man.
I love like real old school Star Wars book covers.
Oh, they're so good.
It's like this one's gold because it's just a real big picture of Luke with Han and Leia just below him and Lobot just behind his head for some fucking reason.
I call that the Star Trek novel cover.
Yeah.
They are really. It is interesting how many of those like. I guess it's a result of Lucas having a hand in everything to do with Star Wars back at that time. Still, like every Star Wars book that came out in that era did have that very distinct art style on the front.
I mean, it wasn't an art style. It was clipped out images from the movies just put on a cover.
But like, oh god, it's so good. Like going back and looking through some of those old books.
I have a friend reading the Thrawn trilogy. I don't think he listens to the podcast. He knows of the podcast, and he's the one that asked me to impress upon the audience that Palpatine's name is Sheev Palpatine.
Oh yeah.
And he also was the one to bring up the banking clan sending tanks to people who owed money.
It's the same person.
Yes.
That sounds like the best way to describe most of like our friends and people around us. No, they know the podcast exists. They don't listen to it. Like they're aware that it's a thing.
But anyway, he showed me the covers of the Thrawn trilogy because he's reading the Thrawn trilogy, and that's why we've been talking about Star Wars. And the covers are a million times better than the original covers. The re-release covers are so good compared to the original Thrawn trilogy covers, which were dog shit, because that's all they were. They were just clips from the movies.
Yeah.
I actually have those books.
God,
like the old school books.
I really maybe that's gonna be my next project. I'm gonna try to track down those cassette tapes I had, the book on tape for the Thrawn trilogy.
If I can find batteries, I would love to, and if I could get my old tape player going, I would love to listen to the original Rogue Planet novelization, because I still have those, but I haven't listened to it in like a decade and a half, and I'm sure the canon's weird on it. Can I, Ian McDiarmid, we started this podcast on. I have just been reminded of another brilliant thing he does in this movie, and I'd love to bring it up.
Yeah?
I mean, "geh" is fucking synonymous with this podcast at this point. If there's like an undercard to our title, it's just "geh." "Geh."
There should be an undercard to our title.
It's just "geh." So during the Mace and Palpatine duel, right as Anakin arrives, they cut back and Mace does a slash, and Palpatine kind of retreats back onto himself before the fight continues, and he just hisses. He just goes. He just hisses.
My favorite is always when he's fighting Yoda, just the ungodly amount of cackling that man does. And then when Yoda like falls, all you hear is him cackling in the distance at nothing. Like you just hear Sheev over in a corner like laughing his ass off while he's holding on to this like rail.
I really do enjoy this. I noticed it again for some reason this watch, like when Yoda throws him across the room and like his robe goes over his head.
The look he gives before that, when he like, I don't know how Ian McDiarmid controls his jaw, but like Nobody has emotive jaw control like that man.
Ian
Maybe
McDermott
it's,
is just, even under the mountains of makeup and prestige or whatever.
Prosthetics.
Yeah, he's still the most like visually expressive person.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I think as like a kid, I just, you know, if you really pressed me on it, I would be like, well, no, I don't think he's wearing pants under that thing. Like he's just
Going
it's so
commando,
funny.
you know.
It's like, but for some reason, it's so much funnier to me. It's really funny now because like just seeing Palpatine wearing like slacks is just that
Slacks
funny.
underneath the robe.
I just got this weird image of like one of those one of those terrible direct to streaming service or video movies that nobody ever sees, like the military or like action movies that the public never sees because it was like sold on video in 2004. And that's just titled Sheev Palpatine Going Commando. And just like Ian McDermott's head on a super jacked guy's body.
Wait, no, it's an
Yes, I
officially
will edit
licensed. It's an officially licensed piece of Imperial propaganda. That's like those cheesy fucking dollar store romance books.
Can you imagine?
The Emperor Goes Commando.
The Emperor Goes
God. Can you imagine if I was right and that scene was Palpatine getting tossed, hitting a chair, his robes go over his head, and it's just Palpatine's pale ass just up in the air.
Freebirding it.
I love that we went on a tirade and throughout it all, this image of Palpatine's ass came to your mind, and I'm like, no, I will find the time to mention this.
Because as soon as Chris said
Such a funny
slacks,
image.
I started losing it. Because I just imagined, oh no, he's wearing khakis.
Is it bad though that like
No,
honestly?
he's wearing
This podcast is just gonna slowly become inside jokes that
This
nobody
podcast is a snake eating itself.
We are in fucking God, we have lost it. This episode
We
started
had
off.
it?
Listen, this episode I feel like was going really well. It was going to be like one of our episodes where it's like, oh hey, look, they can put together intelligent conversation, and we broke down at the finish line.
Chris, you opened with, I think I found a new war crime Obi-Wan and Anakin committed.
Yeah, and it was like we were having intelligent, intellectual conversation about our space wizards and the war crimes they commit.
Oh my god, that's like
God.
the journey so far. Our space wizards and the war crimes they commit.
Oh, Lord Almighty. I need to mention this because it goes off of things that I mentioned in the last episode. First of all, I'm going to point out that Obi-Wan Kenobi pulls off a Muay Thai kick to the chest in the middle of the duel at the end.
Yes.
Like, that, nobody can tell me that duel isn't fantastic, because it just, this duel has everything.
So good.
When the console is hit, and the shields start going down around the facility, Ewan McGregor comes down, and I use the term Ewan McGregor very specifically, comes down with his lightsaber to meet Anakin's. And if you watch, they had to use a flare to hide the fact that Ewan McGregor definitely came down on top of Hayden Christensen's wrists rather than the actual lightsaber blade. Because like
That's the inspiration for J.J. Abrams. He's like, look, they used a lens flare.
No, like lightsaber flares have existed since the beginning of Star Wars, but just specifically, like, they knew, they must have figured it out late in the process, because because like that scene is so crucial to getting to the next part of the duel that if they had caught it on the set, they would have had to reshoot it.
Yeah.
So this had to be something caught in the editing room, and they're like, oh boy, well, how do we figure out how Anakin has wrists at this point? Well, one wrist and one metal hand. Creative use of lens flare. Okay. Foretelling the future.
This is a really good movie.
It's a really good movie.
This was a really good book. I wanna mention the book real quick. There's one quote
The book that you read last rotation.
Yeah, I still have a fuck ton of notes for this book.
I love the book mentions, but Ben, you have to start like saying that this was a book I did not read this week. I've read 9 weeks ago.
I still got notes.
I know, but every time you bring it up, you're like, so this book, or this is also a really good book, as if you read it this week.
It was a good book. So this book.
You know what's coming. I can feel it.
There's a quote from this book. I don't know exactly when this quote is, but it said, "Was becoming tiresome. Not to mention tired." I forget if I mentioned this last week or last episode we did.
When you actually read the book.
But that quote just resonates with me on so many levels.
What are you talking about, Josh? Ben reads that book every week.
Oh god. Oh god.
Ben reads the Revenge of the Sith novelization every week forever.
Every week. Just that one book. It's not even. We don't even let him follow the rotation. It's just
every week. It's just Revenge of the Sith.
I just really hope that quote is associated with Obi-Wan Kenobi, because that just sounds like his character down. Although it's just in the same book where he becomes omniscient. So
he becomes a god.
Last night's watch of this with my wife really became me explaining bits from the podcast to her. Because I couldn't stop laughing as I something would pop up and I'm like, ah, yeah. And she's like, why was that funny? It's like, oh, because, we did this and we did that. Because, my wife doesn't listen to this either.
You had to be there
she has
for
better things to do. Yeah. So that's all Star Wars is to me now, is the bits that we've created.
How did your wife react when you looked at her and went, yeah?
Oh, I do it every time. She knows. I've been doing it before the podcast.
This was just the episode of forcing other people to watch Star Wars with us, because I visited my mom this week, so I was in the car with my sister and I was like, shit, I gotta get through episode 3. So I'm watching episode 3 in the passenger seat and she goes, oh, that's the bad one. I'm like, what do you mean that's the bad one? She goes, that's the one where he murders kids. I'm like, well, it's not the one where he feels all rapey. And she's like, which one's that? Episode 2, she's like, I have to watch that again.
I will say, I've always thought Revenge of the Sith was good, but that's also because it was the only movie before the new movies that I saw on opening night. That said, I know a lot of people who think this movie is bad. So, I feel like we are not the people. We're the target audience for the people that watch this movie, because we've watched it so many fucking times that if we didn't think it was good before this, we would now, just because it's the movie that has the most detail, and the movie that has the most detail is automatically the best movie to us, because it's the most gripping.
It's also the movie after episode 9 and episode 1 and 2. So
yeah, that's true too.
Anything,
we're in the good times.
Anything near average is godly after watching those. And I'm not saying that to diminish episode 3, because I fucking love this movie.
I've always thought it was great, but I know there's a dear friend of all of ours that hates this movie. But then again, she only watched it the once. We've watched getting dangerously close to that thought process of you're not a real fan if you don't watch Star Wars every week forever.
Scotsman type, yeah.
Then weird Wikipedia.
I was just about to jump on that. Yep, I was about to say the same thing. Random page.
Can I just say before we do this? This is the first time that I can remember of doing this podcast, where I know we're getting close to the end, and I'm actually a little sad about it.
I feel the same way.
Oh, like of recording.
Yeah.
I was about to get very hot. Like, what do you mean, Chris? Where the fuck you going? We're doing this forever, motherfucker. Weird Wikipedia. We got the armed transport.
Oh no.
They were.
That, it's always a good sign when it opens with technobabble.
What do you mean? They were
literally just armed.
Transports were long repulsor craft. I don't see any technobabble here. They were capable of carrying large amounts of cargo, usually armed with a single laser cannon.
That's extremely phallic.
That is really phallic.
It is very phallic looking.
This is the worst Star Wars freighter I've ever seen in my life. There was no effort put into this.
It's from Rogue Squadron.
Employed 5 transports to escort 3 combat vehicles in a convoy. Why the fuck are these escorting things?
Because
it sure doesn't look like it could
laser
protect
cannon.
something.
They're armed with like a single laser cannon. Like Jesus.
How many laser cannons, Ben?
A single
laser cannon.
What are you talking about? This dick looks versatile. I could tell. As soon as I got to the word talking, I could tell what I was gonna end up saying, and I just went, no, I'm gonna lean fully in on it. I'm like, this is gonna, nope, let's just lean into it.
No, the article says a single laser cannon.
A single laser cannon.
Like,
Nah,
can you
it's
see that thing doing a U-turn to fire at something?
I don't know what you're talking about. This mouse has a gun.
God, we really are a snake eating itself.
Oh, the Empire employed these vehicles as decoys for any possible rescue missions on the planet Kessel.
I don't see it being useful for anything else.
Thrawn just being like, yes, we'll fool them with armed transports.
Thrawn, one of the greatest tacticians in the history
of Star Wars.
Of fiction, just says, yes, send in the dicks.
Should be the new intro to our podcast.
Send in the dicks. Star Wars every week forever. Send in the dicks. That we talked about a live show that'll never happen. If we ever do a live show, it'll just be, and now welcome to Star Wars every week forever. And when they do, when a podcast is a live show, they usually introduce people one at a time. We don't get introduced one at a time. Whoever's on the comm system just goes, send in the dicks. They'll just come running on the stage.
And by then we'll have, our custom Star Lad jerseys and.
It's gonna be like I'm probably gonna fuck this up so bad because you guys are wrestling fans, but it's gonna be like when a wrestler is introduced and like they got the music blaring and we're like walking out on stage.
The worst 3-man group ever.
You know what this episode has been? This episode has been current us really fucking future us. Because future us are listening to this episode going, what the fuck did we promise to do on the live show?
Ben, why the fuck would you say the music? Like, why would you?
Yeah, I really can't wait until we do a live show in like the corner of a Comic-Con or something with our 3 fans. It's gonna be great. We'll just all go out. It's really gonna happen. It's gonna be like, let's all have our fans meet up, and we all meet up in a place, and we all go to like a fucking Denny's or something because it'll be about 12 people.
Like one time I played D&D in like the corner booth of a Burger King. It's gonna be something like that.
Yeah, this podcast's inevitable end feels like a Denny's in like Wisconsin. So I mean that.
This has been a Denny's in Wisconsin. Good night. I was taking that fucking off ramp. Hey, if you enjoyed us, thought we were funny, like our content, or just really love our suffering and want to hear more of it, we're available all over the place and release episodes every Wednesday around 12 Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Player FM, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and in a unique format over on YouTube that our fans seem to dig. You can join in on the conversation over on Twitter as well, at SWEWF. We're quite active and love to hear from our fans. Sincerely, though, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend with us on this car crash of a ride.